Hey guys, Justin with AmericanTrucks.com here, and today we are checking out the Flowmaster Flow FX Extreme system, available for your 2011 through 2014 3.5 liter EcoBoost F-150. Now, you guys should be considering the Flowmaster if you'd like an extremely aggressive system for your EcoBoost from an industry leader that will also pack a ton of ground clearance for all you off-roaders out there, along with a full stainless steel build, all at a very affordable price point. Now, as far as your features are concerned, well, as always, guys, it really boils down to the sound you're looking for, and that's going to be the case with most aftermarket exhaust. However, I do want to say that the turn-down design is going to be appealing from a ground clearance perspective, again, if you do a lot of off-roading, along with helping provide a more clean look or cleaner appearance because you're not seeing a bunch of pipes, tips, and so forth. And we'll talk more about that in a minute, but first, let's get into that sound because that is gonna be the biggie here. And the Flow FX Extreme really lives up to that extreme name, as you guys heard with our sound clips. Now, the Flowmaster is gonna deliver a ton of bark, a little bit more turbo noise with the EcoBoost, but in my opinion, it's gonna land just shy of the other category Screamer Outlaw Series Extreme, also from the guys over at Flowmaster. So, what does this all mean? Well, breaking out my Wake the Neighbor scale, I'm gonna go strong 4 out of 5 here on my 1 to 5 or 1 to Wake the Neighbor scale. Now again, the Outlaw does edge out this system ever so slightly in regards to overall volume, but it is pretty close. Now that extreme experience does also find its way inside the cab here with this particular system, and I think it's due largely in part to the location of the dump right underneath the cab there, in addition to the fact that you are eliminating that factory resonator. But if you're looking to be loud, you don't mind some interior noise, this is still going to be an awesome choice. Moving into construction, and you'll be happy to know that Flowmaster does incorporate a 100% stainless steel build here with the Flow FX Extreme, 409 grade to be exact, and that's going to be used for things like your very small amount of mandrel bent tubing, all of your factory style hangers welded in place, and of course the unique Flow FX straight through muffler, which does feature a single stage internal packing to kind of take the bite or the edge off the sound a little bit compared to the more traditional Flowmaster mufflers, which utilize a metal baffle, and that's going to contribute more to that unruly sound that you heard with the Outlaw. Now, one thing to note here, guys, is that the system does feature that turn down configuration or exit, which again is going to dump directly underneath your cab before that rear axle. Again, this is going to be great for you off-roaders out there looking for a lot of ground clearance, as the system will reside above the frame rails. But at the same time, again, it's also, I think, going to make for a cleaner appearance due to the lack of any visible tips, pipes, and so forth. Now, finally, guys, the Flow FX Extreme is backed by a limited lifetime warranty from Flowmaster in case you ever run into any issues. Price point for the Flow FX Extreme here is very attractive, again at the mid to high $300 level, considering just the amount of sound you are getting out of this system, along with the corresponding full stainless steel build and lifetime warranty. Now, because this is a unique system and such a small system in regards to overall material and layout, it will help make the install a little bit easier at the end of the day. And because of that, the site is going to go solid 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, maybe a couple of hours to get everything bolted up from start to finish. But now, what do you say we toss it out to the shop? Let's check out our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
The tools you'll need for this project are a couple of ratchets, a 10, a 13, 2 14, a 15 millimeter socket, a clean cloth, some rubbing alcohol, some spray lubricant, and a pry bar. Hi everyone. Today we're installing an exhaust on our F-150, but first, let's watch a short video on how to uninstall the stock system.
So the first step of this install is going to be to remove your factory exhaust system to make room for your new one. In order to get started on this, you're going to want to have your vehicle safely supported on either a lift or jack stands. So let's get started. So I'm going to start by removing these 2 bolts here on the inlet flange. It's a good idea to hit them with a little bit of rust penetrant before you remove them. So I'm just going to spray down the bolt threads, and then I'm going to use a 13 millimeter socket on my ratchet and remove the bolts. So my next step is going to be remove these 2 bolts for the hanger in front of the muffler. Now you can just remove the hanger from the rubber isolator if you want, but I find it easier to remove the hanger completely and swap it over to your new exhaust system off of the vehicle. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray the other 2 hangers with some penetrant, and I'm going to use my pry bar to push the exhaust system back out of the hangers, and with the help of a friend, I'm going to lift the exhaust up over the axle and remove it from the truck.
All right, before we install this exhaust system, there's a couple things we need to take care of. One, you need to make sure before you put this on your vehicle that you get some anti-seize compound and place it on all of the studs and the clamps so that everything will stay unfrozen in case you need to take it apart. The next thing is you need to know what the configuration is of your truck as far as the cab and the bed length. So depending on that will depend on which of these pipes and if any modifications are necessary to be made before you install it. So if you have a regular cab with a 6.5 foot bed or a super cab with a 5.5 foot bed, you will need to make some modifications to the inlet pipe, which is the long one here. If you have the regular cab with a 6.5 foot bed, you're going to need to cut off 18 inches from the end of this pipe. If you have a super cab with a 5.5 foot bed, you need to cut 12 inches off of this. You will not need to use the extension pipe. If you have a Super Crew with a 5.5 foot bed, or a regular cab with an 8 foot bed, or a super cab with a 6.5 foot bed, no modifications are necessary and you only need to use the front pipe. If you have a Super Crew with a 6.5 foot bed, you need to cut 6 inches off of the extension pipe. If you have a super cab with an 8 foot bed, you'll need to use both of these pipes with no modifications necessary. So with that being said and cleared up, hopefully, let's go ahead and get this installed on our truck. All right, now we're ready to install our inlet pipe. As you can see, we're using a pole jack here just to give a little bit of extra support to hold it up while we put the front together. Now you will be using the 3/8 bolts supplied in the kit with some flat washers, lock washers, and the nuts. So let's go ahead and get this installed. So we'll use our 3/8 bolt with a flat washer to go through the front. And then we'll put another flat washer on the back side, along with a lock washer. And a nut. Now we'll install the bolt for the other side of the flange and use the same process. Flat washer, lock washer, and a nut. All right, now we'll go ahead and snug these up with our 14mm socket. And you may want to use another 14mm socket for the front just to hold it still while you're tightening everything down. All right, now you don't want to tighten them all the way down just yet, just snug it up to hold it in place. Now we can go ahead and install our muffler. Now that we're ready to put our muffler on, we're going to be reusing one of the hangers that we took off of the frame earlier. Now, if you recall, there were 2 hangers right in front of the muffler. We're going to be using the one closest to the muffler, and we're going to slide that over the hanger here. Then we're going to slip one of our 3-inch clamps over the end of the inlet on the muffler. And now what we'll do is this rear hanger here, we will slide this into the isolator still on the frame, and then go ahead and insert our inlet pipe into the muffler. So now we'll slide the rear hanger on our muffler into the isolator on the frame. and then insert our inlet pipe into the muffler, make sure it seats, and then we can reuse the original bolts from the hanger on the frame here in front of the muffler. All right, now we can go ahead and tighten down those 2 bolts with our 10mm socket. Now we've got our system installed, double check our clearances, make sure that it's not going to interfere with anything, and then starting from the front, we'll go ahead and tighten it down. So let's go ahead and use our 14mm sockets to tighten down the flange bolts up front. And now we'll tighten down our muffler clamp using our 15mm socket. Now, if looks are important to you, before you fire this thing up, you might want to go ahead and take some rubbing alcohol and a clean cloth and just wipe down the entire exhaust system and wipe off any fingerprints or oils or anything that may have gotten on it while you were installing it. Because if you don't, once you get this thing fired up and it gets hot, it's going to go ahead and burn all those fingerprints and grease marks into your exhaust. So just use a little bit of rubbing alcohol, wipe down all the pipes, get all the fingerprints and grease off of it. And then once you've got that done, you're ready to fire it up. And that wraps up our review and install of the Flowmaster FlowFX Extreme Single Exhaust System with the turn down for your 11 to 14 3.5 liter EcoBoost F-150. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.